Hello lovely people, welcome to the Geek Cupboard, I'm Penge, and welcome to day 18 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022. So of course we are back again with the wonderful T2 Advent Calendar. Let's open it up and find today's gigantic tea door, shall we? So door 18 is what we're looking for. Where are you, gigantic tea door number 18? You must be over here. Okay, right, it's there. Can I kind of fold this round a bit? Sort of like that thing. Hang on, we might have to do that again because, yeah, again, the arm that's holding the camera in place is going to get hit if I try and sort of expand the calendar out all the way. So there we go. That is the door that we're looking for. And it says, grow your own. That's the little kind of goal thing. Now, again, this isn't really the best time of year to be growing things outside here in the UK because it's winter and it's very cold. I think if there were to be anything out in the garden growing, it would be quite dead by now because we've had snow, what was that, 3 or 4 days ago? And it hasn't gone away yet. The temperatures are still very, very cold indeed. So, yeah, we can't really grow anything right now outside, although we do sometimes grow a few bits and bobs. I mean, before we had the garden redone to what it is now, we did have like a great big kind of, it was essentially a big kind of a big pile of mud in what was a repurposed box made out of old kind of decking planks that my father-in-law put together. So we used that. I mean, the kids played in it, but also with one bit of it, we did grow potatoes in it. We had some kind of potato plant. So we have grown stuff. We did try once to grow carrots, and we didn't have much luck with that. And we tried, perhaps maybe too ambitiously, to grow cauliflower. And we got one, and it was horrible. It was foul. It was really horrible to taste. It was really it was way too earthy. It just wasn't a nice thing to eat. So, yeah, we have tried to grow stuff. However, we are growing some stuff inside in the form of lovely kind of herbs and things. So we've got some rosemary and thyme, I think, but we don't really use them very often. They just sort of look nice in a kitchen. But we do have some chives. We've got some chives, and I quite like chives. I like a sort of nice potato salad-y type thing, and you can put chives in it to give it a little bit of pep, or if you want to garnish some pasta or something, you can just chop up some chives and do some sprinkling on top of the pasta, and you get some nice flavour. So we do have some chives downstairs. So do you know what? That will do, I think, for growing our own. But yeah, it's not really the right weather to be growing, carrots and sort of whatever they are, turnips or whatever. So yeah, it's not really the right time of year for that at the moment, Advent Calendar. But do you know what? We are growing some stuff. We're growing some lovely herb type things. So that's okay, I think. That's okay. Right, so here we go. Let's open this up. I have to put it back down for a second. Hang on a second. So here we go. Open that up. And what do we have inside? Okay, so it's a lovely kind of sort of maroon colour, would you say that was? And today's inspirational quote: start the day with tea and you'll be on the right path. Absolutely. Very true indeed. So we have a flavoured fruit herbal tea in a bag. Let's turn it over and see what we have. We've got pumping pomegranate, the essence of the Grand Bazaar, Istanbul. A sweet, tangy and mystical flavour. This tea will take you on a flavour journey with its many surprises. Okay, a flavour journey awaits. So it's got in it apple, hibiscus, rosehip, elderberry, natural and artificial flavouring, pomegranate seeds, 2%. But yeah, pomegranate, I think, is quite a strong flavour. So I'm expecting for that to be quite a sort of a predominant flavour in the tea, even though the pomegranate seeds only make up 2% of what's in the tea bag. But okay, yeah, that's fine. We can have a bit of this. So this could be quite good. This could be a little bit of a sort of a flavour explosion. And we are going to be taken around the world on a flavour journey with many surprises. So here we go, buckle up. We need to go on a flavour journey. But before we do that, we of course have to go to the kettle. And here we are with our lovely freshly brewed cup of pumping pomegranate tea. And look at that, it's got a wonderful colour to it. It's kind of purple. It looks a little bit like Ribena, if you have Ribena in your part of the world, which is kind of like a sort of a blackcurrant drink type thing. But it looks a bit like Ribena. If I try and bring that up to the camera just so you can see, it's kind of this lovely sort of rich purpley colour almost. It's very good to look at. I mean, very obviously it is a fruit tea. It's clearly a fruit tea. Now, in terms of what it smells like, it smells very fruity. It smells possibly a little bit appley. I would say it smells quite appley more than anything else. But yeah, that's okay. Because it did have apple in, didn't it? I think, hang on, I've got the packet just there. I think apple was, yeah, apple is the top thing. Apple is the top sort of ingredient. So that would make sense that it smells appley. So it smells quite appley. Don't know if I can smell anything else. I mean, some of these things, I'm not quite sure what they're supposed to smell of. Like elderberry. I don't know what elderberry is supposed to smell of. So I might be able to smell elderberry, but I don't know I am smelling elderberry because I'm not quite sure what it smells of. So, I mean, it might smell of other stuff, but I would say mostly it's kind of got an appley smell to it. Yeah, okay. So let's have a taste, shall we? I'm awaiting to be taken on a journey around the world or whatever it said. So here we go. Let's go on a flavour journey. Good grief. Right. Okay. Wow. That's very sharp. Okay. Crikeys. Yeah, that's got an immediate, very sharp, tangy, sort of fruity flavour. That's got to be the pomegranate. That's got to be the pomegranate. That's really sharp. Crikey, that'll wake you up if you're feeling a bit tired. Okay, I quite like that, but I think, yeah, that initial sharpness has taken away all the other all the other tastes and stuff that I would have got otherwise. Hang on. Let me go in for another one, and I'll try and get over the kind of the initial sharpness of that. It's very very sort of sharp and strong indeed. Okay, right. So you can taste, yeah. So when you get over the kind of the initial sharpness, because it's very, very strong indeed. You get over that, and that is, yeah, that's sort of a pomegranate-y taste. And then you do get a bit of apple. There is a bit of apple in there, like a bit of sweetness to go with that sort of tang that comes from the sort of pomegranate. And there's kind of just a sort of a general fruity, sort of sweet flavour to it, which is okay. I quite like that. That's a really nice fruity tea. I'm amazed at that initial hit. That took me by surprise. It's really properly almost overpowering when you have it first. I mean, maybe now we've had a couple of sips, we're not so bad, but I think to have it again, hang on. Yeah, it is a very, very strong sort of initial blast of sort of that pomegranate-y sort of flavour. Okay, that's all right. I quite like that. It's got like a sort of, yeah, that initial sharp taste, and then it kind of sort of mellows out a little bit, but it's still right at the sort of the back of your mouth. You've still got that kind of pomegranate-y sort of sharpness, but then you've kind of got a bit of sweetness as well. It kind of mellows out and becomes sweeter. I quite like that. That is a very interesting drink because it's got different kind of flavours on different levels. So it starts off with one flavour and then kind of moves to another one as you kind of drink and then sort of down the drink. I quite like that. Okay, yep, that's good. I'm going to have another bit before we dive into the question. Hang on, excuse me. Do you know what, even after how many sips is that? 4, 5? The sharp sort of hit doesn't sort of lessen any, crikeys. Okay, there you go. If you need a tea to wake you up a little bit, it's a bit like being sort of an exciting sort of exciting boop on the nose, possibly. But yeah, that does the job. That is certainly quite jarring. You don't expect that kind of level of oomph to come out of it, and there is a good level of oomph. So there we go. Got some lovely oomphy tea. Let's go over to today's question. And today's question comes from Jakey, and they say, if you could change one thing about the Geek Cupboard, like the room itself, what would you change and why? So I think they're referring to what would I change in the actual physical Geek Cupboard. So not on the channel, not what would I change on the channel, but more in the actual physical room that I am in right now. So, yeah, I'm sure you all do know, but if you don't know, the Geek Cupboard is an actual physical room. I'm in the Geek Cupboard right now. It's supposed to be a bedroom, although that is quite laughable because it's tiny. You could put a very small bed in here, but you wouldn't fit much else in. So it is a room, so it's got itself, there's it's like that, if you like. So it's like a long sort of, well, longish, it's sort of rectangular like that, and at that end there's a door, and then at that end there's a window looking out to the back garden, and that's kind of it. And so the desk is kind of over this bit here, and there's kind of a thing over here where there's some like shelving units, and over here in this corner is like a bookshelf, and that's kind of it, because you can't fit much else in, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to open the door, or I wouldn't be able to get out. So yeah, that's kind of Geek Cupboard itself, and of course, as we know, it's full of geeky things, many things, but I mean, there are quite a few little bits and bobs I'd like to change. I mean, I love it. I love the room. It's it's a tiny little room, but it's my tiny little room, and by extension, our tiny little room, because of course you're here now with me in the tiny room. I mean, yeah, it's full of very lovely geeky things. And I do like having my own space to get away and just, escape for a bit and just come up here and just, play a game, or even just sit and just, watch some YouTubey stuff and have a cup of tea, maybe have a nice bit of cake or whatever. I can just come here and kind of get away from the other stuff that's going on. So it is quite nice to have. But, I mean, there's, I think, 3 things. I wrote down 3 things that I would change. I kind of thought about this one before I answered it. So there are 3 things. I mean, number 1, it is quite small. It's a very small thing. So, I mean, the wall over there is, don't know, what's that, about 2 feet, not even 2 feet away. And behind me, behind my chair, there's about a foot of space where I hit the other side. So, like, in terms of dimensions that way, it's quite small. It's not very big at all. So I wouldn't mind it being a tad bigger, if only so I could have some more desk space. Because at the moment, the desktop, my gaming computer, is on the desk right next to me. I'm going to tap it. There it is. It's literally, it is, so where my hand has gone out of shot there, it's about that far away from the edge of shot over there. So, it's very sort of squished around here. There's not much room sort of on the desk over there. And on the left over there is my sort of proper work laptop. So that's over there. So there's not much room left for anything else on the desk. Now, normally where this is, where you're looking now, I'd have the mouse here and the keyboard here. So again, the desk is taken up with other stuff. And then sort of just over there, I've got the little kind of air cooler thing and the 2 monitors. So the desk is quite full all of the time. It'd be nice if I could just, maybe move the computer over there somewhere else onto like, another table over there or something like that. I don't really want it on the floor because that's how they get all dusty and horrible. But it'd be nice if it was just a little bit further away. So a tiny bit more room would be good. It would be good. I mean, I think if it were to be a huge room, it would lose its kind of cupboardy status, because then it would be the geek room and not a cupboard, which would be a bit weird. Because I think the smallness of it makes it more cozy and more cupboardy. So I don't want a sort of a vast giant space, but just a little bit more room would be quite good. Of course, that is completely physically impossible, because that can't happen. There's a room there, and there's a room there, and there's kind of like the top of the stairs landing bit is over there, and over there is the outdoors. So it can't get any bigger unless we knock walls down and then impact the other rooms, and that makes all the rooms funny shapes, and that's bad. So we're not going to do that. But it would be good. That would be ideal. But there we go. Another thing that I would do, if I could, and this is a bit more sort of feasible than making the room bigger via some sort of, I don't know, Time Lord science or whatever. But it'd be quite nice if I could soundproof it just a little bit. I don't know how I do it, but just a tiny bit. Because sometimes I can hear noises coming from around the house, and that's okay. That's fine, because it's a home and people live in it and people come and go and stuff happens. But sometimes there are big bangs of doors shutting or shouts of the kids or whatever and that kind of stuff. You can hear sort of, sometimes if someone's walking about downstairs and they've got, I don't know, toys, or they've got, I don't know, boots on that clonk or something, you can hear it clunking about. And it's not so bad, because we do have on the microphone up there is sort of, noise filtering sort of things you can do. So it does filter out some of the sound, but it would be quite good to avoid the louder noises. And kind of the door bangs and stuff are the worst, because they do shake the walls. And the microphone is attached to a shelf, which is attached to the wall. So it does sort of, it does pick those up sometimes. But, I mean, you can do that, can't you? You can sort of do that. You can put things on the wall like sort of, like foam stuff, isn't it? I've seen it before, like sort of pointy foam stuff. You stick that on the walls and it makes it a little bit more sort of soundproof. Although I think it also does smell a bit. We'll have to air it first, that foam stuff. But so I think that would be quite nice as well. That would be a nice thing to have, but not ideal. Not ideal. It would be ideal, but it's not essential. It's not essential, because I've done we've had 6 and a bit years of the Geek Cupboard without any of that, and it's okay. I think. I mean, sometimes the sound's a bit weird, and sometimes you hear the computer clacking and cracking when it gets hot, and sometimes you hear the monitor having a bit of a crack when it gets hot. But I think overall, it's okay. The audio quality of sort of Geek Cupboard videos is sort of fine sometimes, more or less. But it'd be nice. It'd be a nice thing to have. And then I think the final thing is what I would place above the other 2. So room a bit bigger, that'd be nice. Can't redo it. The sound insulation stuff would be handy, not essential, but would be quite nice to have. But I would like a proper air conditioning unit fitted to the wall, so you could get some proper aircon going on. Because now the Geek Cupboard is very, very comfortable, because everywhere else is cold, and because heating is £12 billion worth of heating on at the minute, we don't have the heating on very much. So the rest of the house is quite chilly, but the Geek Cupboard, because I'm in here, so I'm giving off heat and I'm talking a lot of hot air, ha ha ha. So I'm doing all that. So that's, making the room warm. And I've got a computer there, which, is doing stuff. The computer kicks out heat, and 2 monitors, which are kicking out heat as well. This room with the door shut is okay. Even though it's really cold outside, it's comfortable and it's not boiling, but it's okay. So, when it's cold, the Geek Cupboard is not too bad. When it's hot, the Geek Cupboard is sometimes almost unbearably, uncomfortably hot. Like this year in the summer, we had the hottest ever day recorded in the UK. Ever. Well, on record anyway. And in here, it was insufferably horrible. It was really unpleasant. I think I did try to record something and I bailed and left it until later in the day, until the temperature wasn't 40 degrees Celsius or whatever daft temperature it was. It came down to a positively freezing 36 or something. And I know some of you might be listening to this thinking, 36 degrees C, that's nothing. We have that all the time. But then there are arguments against that, of course. So number one, your houses are probably built to deal with that. You've probably got, sort of, if it's always warm where you are, then your houses probably aren't full of insulation like our houses are over here to keep the heat in. Because normally it's cold around here, it's chilly in the UK, so the houses have got loads of insulation in the walls and the roof and everything else to keep the heat in. So our heat doesn't get out very well. And also, we don't have aircon. There's no air conditioning. We don't have that at all. So if the room is, if outside is 40 degrees, inside is likely to be just a tiny bit less than that, because of course you're inside, but not much less than that. So it does get boiling hot in here. And I do have an aircon thing. It's like a little sort of portable one on wheels, and you kind of shuffle it about the place, and you attach a kind of hose type thing, like an outlet pipe, and you run that out of the window. And that does work. It's very good, but I can't run it in here because it's too loud. It's too noisy. And it means that if I were to run it in here either, I'd have to have the window open, which sometimes isn't ideal if I'm trying to record because, it's sometimes there's noises outside and dogs barking in the park and things going by and cutting the grass, whatever. Or I'd have to have that door open there and then run the pipe outside on the sort of the window that's on the top of the stairs. But again, then the door's open, and so I'd hear more noise from downstairs. So if I could have one fitted to the wall that just, cooled this room down and then pumped the air straight outside, that would be amazing. That'd be so good. That'd be really handy. And I could sit in here and just, feel a bit cooler. Because I spend quite a lot of time in here, given that we now work from home quite a bit. I work from home on my laptop just there next to me. And then I do Geek Cupboard stuff just here. So, I spend quite a bit of time in here. So it'd be quite nice if I could cool the room down a tiny bit via some sort of lovely aircon. That would be ideal. But do you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It gets hot. I just sit and just sort of very slowly sweat away just into a big sweat pile. But again, I've muddled through. I've muddled through for however many years, 6 and a bit years of Geek Cupboard. And we can cope with that. We can cope. It gets uncomfortable when it's warm. I mean, one thing that I did do, which is courtesy of Dave over at the wee hours. Thank you, Dave. Good job, Dave. So in the summer in the evenings, if I were recording stuff, which I often do record stuff in the evenings, a while back, I'd have the window open because, of course, it's hot. But in the evening, you get some slightly cooler air coming in and it's quite nice. But then because I tend to have either light on or the screens are bright, I did have the problem. So I'd sit there and be recording stuff and insects would come in through the open window because they'd think, hey, great, there's some light and I'm an insect and that's what I do. And that did get annoying because then there were insects in the room and there were like, moths and flies and other things buzzing around the place and it got annoying. And we're near a park as well. We're near a park, so there's quite a lot of stuff over there. There's a park literally over the fence. So there's quite a lot of things flying about. And then Dave just sort of expresses amazement that we didn't have kind of like, shutters or screens or something. And I thought, you know what? That's actually a good point. Why don't I just get a screen? So our windows aren't fitted with screens, naturally, here in the UK. That's not a thing we have. I bought a kit. I bought a little kit. So you have kind of around the window frames, the window is like that. It's got some magnetic strips that I attached. And then I cut the frame to size. So another frame, like a mesh frame, stuck the sort of a corresponding sized set of strips on that. And then it just clips onto the window. So I've got a nice kind of mesh thing over the window so I can have the window open in the summer and then I can have no insects coming in because they can't get through the mesh. And that came courtesy of Dave. So thank you, Dave, over at the wee hours. You saved a lot of insects coming into this room, and either I don't know, going elsewhere in the house, or just staying in here and just dying because they never go back outside, do they? So yeah, that'll be ideal as well. If I could have a bit of aircon in here, just directly going, so if it was up on the wall and directly going back outside, that would be ideal as well. But I think that's quite expensive. If the Geek Cupboard explodes and takes off massively and I earn huge millions of monies from it, then maybe that would be a little treat, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because it's just too costly, I think, to get it all done and wired up, and we'd have to, knock a hole in the wall and seal it up, and it'll be a bit of a bother. I think we'd have to properly save up and get it done. It'll be quite expensive. So yeah, I think those are the three things. So make it bigger, soundproof, and some proper aircon. That's what I would change about the Geek Cupboard, the physical room itself, if I could. But I don't see any of those things happening at any point in the near future, if ever at all. But do you know what? You can dream, can't you? We can have these fun little dreams and these goals, and that'd be quite nice. So yeah, there we go. Come on. Blimeys. Okay, yep, there we go. There we go, another big strong boop on the nose. Good grief. Yeah, so okay, hopefully that answers the question okay. And I think with that done, we can wrap things up. I've got some very punchy tea going on. We've answered the question. I think everything is looking pretty good. So for now, thank you very much for joining me on day 18 of the Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022, and I'll see you next time. She's still heartbroken. She's still sick. Oh, Colleen, it's just not your day, is it? Sean Bozzini is going to defecate. How's the lounge looking? Do you like the plants? I left them there especially for you guys. Is there some sort of terrible apocalypse which I need to know about? He's just defecated in a bush.